Hi guys, hope you're well. This is a little project under the cover here that I've been working on for maybe 2 months, maybe, I don't know. Some people think of it as a holy grail or whatever. I was never interested in them when they first come out because they used to come with a subscription. You had to buy a magazine when you got a bit by bit, like with a magazine. I could never do that, but I think they worked out to about $2 grand in the end, the time we bought magazines and that. But after watching Kevin Talbot and Tom Lee a couple of months ago, I thought I'll sort of changed a bit, and I think that car could be like made to be a lot better than it is. So I looked around to find one. You probably know what I'm talking about. I'll get the cover off. Yes, it's a Diagostinni Kyosho kind of collaboration to make this car. It's not finished yet by a long way, but I made some modifications to it, which I want to show you, which I think are going to improve the car no end, because I've not actually seen one drive, that well. But if you watch Tommy's video, it just spins round and round and round, and I think I've discovered why they don't handle that well. I mean, the tyres themselves, they feel quite good, and they've got a foam in them. I was lucky to get another set. They feel quite good. So it's either got too much steering, which is chucking the back out, which I believe that could be the case, or suspension, which I've changed, quite a lot. So to find anything for this car is very hard. There's a few eBay sellers out there, but very difficult to find parts. And if you do, they are so expensive. I mean, everything is like £45 a packet. Maybe you buy 2 screws, or you buy a rear spoiler or something like that. It is just so expensive to find stuff for them, and buy them. At the moment, I'm waiting for some decals. Omar, who's on Build the RB7 Facebook group, he has got some PDF files that he's making up. Hopefully we're going to get some decals, because you can't find them for love nor money, because this car came with 2 body shells. What's on there at the moment is what they call a running shell. It's your traditional Lexion type body. It's kind of not bad, but when you get the hard body plastic, now this is what I bought off of eBay. Someone has completely messed it up, it's painted it this colour and everything. Now this came with the car, I had to pay, I think it's like £350, I believe, and it's actually a disgrace. But I've seen it go for up to like £1 grand, so, or more. So I want to get this body done. It's really strange, because they do one set of parts for what they call the running body, which is the Lexion one there, and they do another set of parts for this, what they call it, a display body, and it's much more realistic, and what you have to do to fit this, which is really strange, you have to take the head off. So you have to take this head off to actually fit this on, which is kind of a bit odd. But anyway, this is what comes with a car. It's okay, if I can get the decals, I'll get stuck into that and I'll have that finished in no time. It'll be very easy. But it took me, like, I would say, probably a month or so of, trying to contact people. If I saw one who, see someone on eBay that actually had a car for sale, I'd ask them if they got any parts, or if they knew anyone, because I didn't have the running body. All I had was the chassis. It didn't have the running front wings or rear wing. It was all kind of just a display body. And I'll talk to you a bit of how, when I got it, you know, what was wrong with this car. It was very disappointing, really, and very awkward to fix. Right, we just had this body off, he said. I don't know if that's, is that Weber or is it Vettel? I don't know. I suppose I got it right. I've got to get it right, otherwise people are going to say, yeah, you've got the wrong man in there. Anyway, I found this through another guy who knew someone who had a few spares and had one of these new in the bag. It's was damaged slightly. He said to me, he's an honest guy. If you can see, there's like a little crease along that line there, in there. There's a little crease going up there, and he had another one which had a damage up here, which you could see much more than that one, you know. I put the mirrors on and that. But that is a Tamiya 53, I believe it is, a TS53. But the colour they give you, or they say to use, which is, I forget what it is now, it might be a TS53 on the outside and with a pearl clear coat. It looks terrible. It's miles too dark, so I went down to a place, I've got cars near me, and they make mixed paint up for you. So I've got them to match that up as best they could, because I mean, Lexian body goes all different colours, you know, when you move it or whatever, but I managed to get them cars to make it up for me. So I've got that done, and I managed to paint the on my radio, a 7th scale this is. I managed to paint the front wing. Now that's a running wing. It's more beefy round these supports here, and it's got like 3mm screws holding it in, or 2.5. Everything's a lot beefier. Also, it's a lower running nose as well. So, you know, to run this car, you have to have like 2 sets of everything. One for the display body and one for the running body, unless you don't want to display it, or, you know, but I can't have just something sitting on my shelf and not running. But they made a nice job of matching that paint up. And I bought a 2-pack clear coat, which is, you know, gone on beautiful. I've gone over the decals. A lot of people said, oh, you know, you can't. But if you put a light mist coat on first, and then go over the decals, it seals them all in, and I'm very pleased with that, the way that's come out. The rear one, now that's a running body, a running rear wing as well. Now I couldn't paint that because it had the decals on, but all their plastic came in kind of this colour. So if you didn't want to paint it, you could just build a car and just leave it. But I thought to myself, well, I can't paint it because I can probably never find them decals. Hopefully, you know, if Omar, you know, can get them PDF files. He's actually printed them out, not printed them, but he sent me the file, and they look really good. I've got to get back to him now, see how, you know, how he goes from there. But he seems like a very clever guy, and he runs this site, and he runs his own one as well, I believe. Because Kosho did a Ferrari as well. They did a 8th scale one, and I didn't know, but they've done a 7th scale one. I think it's based on this chassis here. But yeah, anyway, what I did with that rear wing, I've just put a clear coat on it, 2-pack, so it's fuel proof, because you've got to have anything on this car, it's got to be fuel proof, anything you paint. I mean, the barge boards here, where are they? Let's get this down a little bit lower. Yeah, we've got the barge boards here, they're all in 2-pack, and they're these little covers here. All this is done in 2-pack, after obviously painted in the blue. Again, you've got running ones of these, and running ones of these, and running ones of these. So that's a running body set. That is parts of the running body, that's parts of the running body, and that's parts of the running body. And the rear wing is part of the running body. But like I say, if you want to run the display head, or not display head, if you want to run the display body, you must take that off because it's in the way. Obviously, when you do this body, you have to cut that out. It's marked, but I always tend to leave a bit more in and then gradually work it back. I've seen some of these horrendous people cutting them out with knives and scissors, but I use a little Dremel and it fits on there really well. And I think once you get the decal, you get the red ball that runs up the back here, from about there it comes up. I think it's going to look okay. And obviously I need all the cockpit detail, there's a decal that goes in there with the seat belts and whatever. I think there's a little aerial, other little bits and pieces that go on that. And there's a decal that goes on the top of this. So that's where we are with the bodies and whatnot. Now, when I got this car, I mean, you can see it hadn't been used. I mean, the engine was built backwards. It was like there was about 2 screws holding the head on and no head gasket and all that, but I could tell that it had never been run. Obviously someone had tried to run it because there was like nitro fuel everywhere, but the bottom of it is, you know, it's quite nice. I'm knocking it, it's such a big lump, it's knocking everything off. Now, when I got this car, you can see this diffuser plate here. I've got these screws that hold that on, and they've got some tiny little screws that are a bit bigger, whatever. Well, I don't know why, but the guy who had it before decided that he would glue, because the display body wing here, he decided that it had been damaged and it had been knocked about and whatever, and the screws were poking out of something. So all he decided to do was cyano or super glue this part here. Well, you know what cyano's like, it wicks into everything, doesn't it? And it wicked into, oops, I just dropped the tyre off. It wicked into all these gearbox covers, into the diffuser. I can still see a little bit of it left. I've spent hours because I couldn't get anything apart. I could not get the rear diff casing apart. I could get nothing apart. So I got some acetone, because a guy, you know, a friend of mine said, use some acetone and just keep putting it on there, wiggling it and running the knife down, and not, you know, and I did that probably for about a day, and gradually I managed to get this diffuser off, and then I managed to get the gearbox casings apart, which is these parts here. I got them apart, and you know, it's slow going because it had come right down here. You know, it locked everything up, everything. You know, some people shouldn't be let loose with super glue, I'll tell you. But anyway, now we get on to the parts that I've actually tried to change to make this a better car. What used to happen, when I first got it, it's got plastic body shocks, which are absolutely terrible. So I've managed to find some alley shocks, which work really well. And the thing with this car is it's so long, it kind of like the bends in the middle and it hits the floor before the suspension moves. You know, it was diabolical. You couldn't even see the springs move. But now I've got the actual springs moving, pushing in the centre of the car, which I am now. Before, it would do it all flexing, whatever, and they had the springs so stiff, you know. I don't know why. You know, I believe that's why it didn't have a lot of grip, because it was very, very low, and it had no suspension. All that was flexing was the wishbones and the chassis. So what I've done is to strengthen up the front of the chassis. You can see these alloy plates. I've put 2 alloy plates in there, and they go onto where the tank was bolted to. And I've got, if I move receiver wise, you can see in there, it might be better from the other side. Right, can you see it? I've made like a post that goes down to the chassis, so that braces the front. I've got 2 braces each side of the tank, made out of quite a strong duralumin, so it goes from there and back, because that's where the car was bending. Because if you look underneath, where that front bolts on, that's where it was bending from. So I've actually braced up, because this is a metal top plate here. I'm getting focused. That is a metal plate here, so you can mount from there back to there with a couple of strong posts, and it eliminated the flex straight away. Now, I don't know if you can see, the rear works nice as well. We've got a nice little bit of body roll now because the springs are a little bit lighter, and I'm running like a thinner wall, so that should generate some grip, you know. The others, it was just solid, absolutely solid. The springs were just not moving. Was now is nice, and it's got a bit more height. I don't mind that. You want a little bit of body roll to get your grip. So the other thing I had to do here, which I'll show you. Hang on, let's have a cup of tea. Okay. If you notice these supports here, again, you had really strong springs. I mean, these are not that strong, but you had strong springs, and the mounts are just plastic. So when you press the front up and down, it weren't the shocks that was moving, it was actually pulling those down. Pulling its whole top plate was just pulling it down. So the shocks weren't moving. So you had the wishbones that were flexing, and you had this whole top plate here, which is under here, which is all plastic, was actually bending right back. So instead of the shock moving, it was just pushing this right back. So what I've done on there is I've made where the actual shock mounts, it goes through there and it screws into the metal plate at the bottom. And I've also braced there, so you've got another strut coming down, and you've got another pillar coming down. You've got two pillars there supporting the top plate and supporting. So there's a screw that goes right through there, right through to the bottom, so it cannot move. The same on the other side. So you've got, if you can see that, so we've got these two here that support that, because without that the plate moves and the suspension does not work, you know. So this little part here, which I've made, is kind of worked out. It's transformed the car. The suspension is working how it used to. It's supposed to work, you know, not bending. It didn't even move before. It's atrocious. So we've got the front suspension working really nice. We've got the rear suspension working very nice. It all works from the middle, you know, everything's kind of working. You can see the shocks working, and that was my goal. That took me a little while, but that was kind of what I was aiming for. I thought I could do something with it. The shocks, you know, these ones, they're not like expensive shocks, but they're better than the plastic ones. The plastic ones were horrendous. What it needs, you know, well, I've seen some guys do it. I mean, it's a pretty rare car, but there's a few places that have actually beefed up. Oh, you can't see it, but they beef up the suspension. So they make little carbon plates that actually go across the wishbones, like in here. When you get right down here, they put a carbon plate on the bottom, because this plastic is like really bendy. I don't know what it is, but it's not great. All the ball joints are loose, you know, that's how they come, you know. The wheels, look, what's the wheels? That's just the hub bending, look. Oh, something all fell off my table. This thing is a nightmare. Yeah, so look, I'm hardly touching that, and I've done work on that. I've spaced it out a little bit and done this, that and the other to it, but you know, they've got a mind of their own, you know, that's not going to help. But you know, it's early days with this car yet. You know, I've got a lot of plans for it. So, you know me and my 2-speed gearbox, so I managed to get a 2-speed gearbox. And because this is like Kyosho, the gearbox in here, let's move the tyre off or knock it off and knock everything else flying. Right, now you can see now I've got the 2-speed gearbox. Now this is a Kyosho part, and the good thing with this, I mean, the engine is, what is it, it's a GX or something, GX21, so it's You know, these are quite a powerful engine, you know. Don't be, I know it's a bit of a crochet engine, a bit of a cooking engine, but don't be put off. I've had a few of these, and they do go well, but I think it's a bit overpowered for this car. And they do tend to break con rods if you run it hard, but you know, really, am I going to run this that hard? I just want to hear it change gear, you know, and go from there. The thing also I've got missing is there's a pipe that goes from here and it goes up, and the actual driver's helmet is an air filter, so that kind of sits on there like that with a pipe going up to his head. So I'm looking out for one of them, and you think that's really hard to find. You think you'd better find one of them, wouldn't you? So we've got the 2-speed gearbox in there. You know, I managed to go through Show Spares. Really great guy, helped me out so much. And I got the gears off him because it's sort of probably half the price if I was to try and find the proper RedBull, you know, DEAGOSTINI parts. So, you know, it was a long struggle getting to this kind of setup and getting the car apart and all that, you know. But the engine is like new inside. I've got another head gasket, all the screws, took it all apart, cleaned it all up. But it hadn't been run, it just soaked in glow fuel. The actual exhaust is a strange one. It comes out sort of straight out the back, and it goes down in like a little dustbin, and it just goes through a pipe out the back there, like you can see there. So, I don't know if you watched, I think it's Tommy's video. He said he had a thing on there called a kickstart, and you can start it from the transmitter. Now, sort of, I love all that stuff. I've got a lot of cars like that are self-starting. All the toy stuff I make has all got electric starters on them, and you start from the transmitter. So I was determined to see if I can find what they use. And I think I was on eBay and I come across this guy who was selling 2 starters. And when I watched the video, Tommy's video, I couldn't actually see what was in there, but it looked very similar. I was freezing the video and trying to sort of home in on the picture of what's just behind where the pull start should be. And it looked very similar to this, you know, this guy, what he was selling. So I bought them. I bought 2 of them. I think they were like £50 each. But I'm glad I did, because that's what I've got in there at the moment. I don't know if you can see it. It's in there. I'll show you the other one. Now, there's a big problem in buying these. They are made for a 21 or a 32 engine. I don't know how to pronounce that. Warm start. You get it from AliExpress if you can't, you know. I'm lucky I found this one on, found these 2 on eBay. I think they're about 80 quid each. But if you buy the ESC and stuff that goes with it, it comes with an igniter, ESC to spin the motor, and a plug that goes in your receiver. So, if I show you the other side. So, in this radio box now, I've got, you can just see the name of the ESC, and it's got a beck on it, so you can pay your receiver from it. And when you hit the start button, the glow comes on, the ESC comes on, and it, you know, starts the engine instantly. It's absolutely fantastic thing. I've got a little video of it starting. I'll have to put that on there, but it's an incredible little gadget that goes on the back there, and it's very small. So you've got, you know, you can power your receiver from it, which a lot of them you can't. So you have to have another battery and blah blah. In fact, I've been building one of my Toy Twins today, and I've been hell of a job with the starter, trying to get it all in a radio box, you know. But it's getting there. But this one, it was quite easy. There's quite a lot of room in there, but I couldn't find where to put the receiver. So I've just put the receiver standing up in there. That works okay. I don't know if I've got, let's just see if I can spin it engine over. That's Probably should have put some fuel in it. I don't know if it's got any power in it. Oh yeah, dreadful slow servos. But let's see if I can start it up. Alright, not start it. Oh, you got to wait 3 seconds. Can you hear that? Now that is turning the engine over. So easy. And that also, if I'd fuel in here, that would start up straight away. You can see it spinning over. If you watch the flybulb. Now this ESC in here, it will only give you like a 3-second burst. So you can't, you know, like keep overheating it. Because that's a quite high compression, that engine, and it's brand new, and yeah, it turns it over really easy. But it'll only give you like a 3 seconds. So it'll run, and then it'll stop. Wait 3 seconds, and then it'll go again, and then it'll stop. But honestly, it fired up straight away. It wasn't like any problem. And it's so tricky to have your engine starting off your transmitter. You know, it's like just, you know, unless you can see how slow these servos are. I'll probably going to change them. Oh, that's my last tyre cut off. Yeah. This is a throttle and brake set up on here. No, I mean, the speed of that. I'm going to have to change. These are Kosho Synchro servos, which I've not really heard before, but the brake works well, everything's going well on it, so I'll just turn the radio off. But starter is absolutely wonderful. It fits, oh, it doesn't fit straight on. Maybe I'll turn a little white lie there. I'll show you the problem you have with the starter. I'm lucky, I've got a lathe so I can work at stuff. So this is my spare starter. Now that hexagon in there, I believe is 12mm. Okay. Now the one on the back of the GX engine is a colossal 17mm hex. So I'm thinking to myself, we've got a problem. So this is off the engine, that one there, the GX engine, and this is the size of this, is 8mm. So if you was to buy a quarter, which I bought this cheap starter motor just to get that one-way bearing, and that's 12mm, so that'll go into that, but it's got a 6mm drive. So you've got that sticking out the back of your engine, you've got your 12mm hex which will go into your starter. There's one problem, that's 8mm, and the one-way bearing in that is 6mm. So what I did was I put in a lathe and I turned this down to 6mm. It was fairly hard to start with. I think it was case hardened, so I mean ideally the one-way bearings need to run on half service, otherwise they bite in and they start failing. But I turned it, it was quite solid, but we'll have to see how that wears. But at the moment, as you can tell, it's working fine. But if you turn that down to dead on 6mm, and then you can get your 12mm hex, which is in there on my cheap starter, push that on there, and then that goes on your, that hex in there, and then you can see that gear going around. It's a lovely little bit of kit. I do another one for a smaller, like an 18 size engine, but I'm going to put this on my my 4-stroke Volkswagen Beetle, so we can give that a go on now. So we've got, this car came with like each part 108 came with a part. I believe this was the 2-speed shift cam. Oh no, what was it? Yes it was. And you got to be careful you don't get fooled, because you look at the back and you see like that part and that part, but it's not. If you look, you can see that's another part number on there somewhere. I can't see it now, but there's another part number, so it's not actually that one. 108, that's 109, yeah, see, so you've got to be careful. Now this shift cam is just a standard Kosho one. Used to get them anywhere. Every car Kosho made 2-speed had one of them in. But when I think about it, I'm going back 20 years now when I had a Kosho 2-speed, and they've suddenly become really, really rare, really hard to buy. But I managed to find one, again, a packet, 45 quid, just for something that probably was like a tenner back in the day. But like I said, everything you buy, you know, it's like so much money. I bought parts for the, these are parts for the display body. They got a lot more detail in there. This is a front wing. It all comes, well, painted, but it's that blue colour. It's not actually, it's not like if you used to paint it, but you can't do anything about that because it's already got the decals on. I'll probably give them a coat, a clear coat, 2-pack. But these are held on with kind of like little tiny, they're like 1.5mm screws, 2mm screws. It's like ridiculous, but obviously it's just going to be like an Airfix kit body, you know. Little parts like this, wings. That's the high nose, so that, you know, when you get your, let's get your display body. When you get your display body, like that fits on that nose, like that. So that'll go on there like that. But all these decals I'm hoping to get from Omar if he, you know, if it all works out. So all these different parts, it's kind of like two, you know, this body is quite complicated, a lot of bits that fit together. And you can still get quite a lot of bits of display body, but it just seems like the Lexion ones are very hard to come by. What else? Oh, this is the display wing as well, and tiny little screws in the bottom of that. You know, I think the one that's on there now is, I think, 2.5mm. You know, it's still very what do you call it? Fragile car. You know, it's like you've got to be really careful. You know, I mein, they're just like ordinary plastic. And it's that plastic, you know, like when I was doing the other parts, if you put the wrong side screw in, it would like want to crack, or it would stress, you know, get like blue, and you could see it stressing. Sort of lucky enough, I found search Google, I found a couple of places that had like each part of the magazine numbered, and it gave you what came with it. So if you got a running rear wing, it told you what size screws there were, because when I bought this car, every screw was different, you know. It was just a shambles, really. I suppose people bought them who weren't modelers. They were just like, thought, oh yeah, I'll get one of them, buy a magazine a week, you know, and I put one together. Because I remember it coming out and thinking to myself, that's going to be like, going to be rubbish, you know. I'm not going to buy that. You know, I had proper Kosho cars back in the day, but these have got like a bit of a following now, you know, as everything does. Everything that was sort of rubbish to start with, it becomes collectible, you know, people want it. Parts dry up, it's very hard to find stuff for it now. But when I saw that one running, Tomley's, and I think Talbot, I thought, you must be able to get that running better than that, you know, it must be. So that was my aim, is to get this changing gear and running in a straight line. Now, you might say I'm cheating a little bit, but I have something else in this car, which I'm sort of known for doing. Oh, you can all see that in here, guys. You know what that is. That's a drift gyro. So left my radio on, never mind. So, if you, can you hear? As you move the car, the wheels go the opposite way. So, it'll help you, if it wants to spin round, it will, try and steer into the skid and it will get you out of it. Servo is so slow, I'm going to have to change that servo because it's not going to do much. If you can see this working, when it starts to work, like still, and now it's working, it's green. Quite a nice little unit, works well. It's solved a lot of problems in quite a lot of cars of mine, or made them easier to drive, shall I say. Two-wheel drive and whatever, and this is two-wheel drive. And the thing that sort of lets it down is, if you can see them back wheels, I mean they feel so much grip, but you can see everything's kind of like flexing and moving. I don't know if I can get a closer video of that wheel, what it's doing. Oh, look, I don't know, but to try and stiffen that up, it's just the arms moving, it's the actual hub, everything in there, it needs to be really physically changed. The plastic can be harder. I mean, it's only tiny little screws and all that, it's just, I don't know, but I love it. And I think when we get them decals on, that's going to look epic. And it's such a size that I just love it. So there we have it, guys. That's why I've been sort of tied up doing this for a while. Kind of like trying to sort out the suspension. I weren't going to have it without a 2-speed, so I was hunting down 2-speed parts, then I wanted electric starter, and it was quite by chance I found them on eBay, but you can buy them off AliExpress. So, if you want to run one of these, they're fantastic little units, held on with 2.5 screws. It'll go straight on, apart from the size of the hexagon. If you can get access to a lathe, or you can get someone to turn the shaft down that comes out of the pull start, so you can fix a 12mm hex in there, that's what you must have, which has got a 6mm inside diameter. It works fine. Now, I don't know really, this is supposed to be like a 21 size up to a 32. There are probably not many engines that would have a small 6mm shaft with a 12mm hexagon, so I don't know, but I had lots of thoughts of kind of trying to machine that out bigger and all that, but I thought, no, let's go the other way and try and machine the shaft down. It's a lot easier, and it works as well, and a really nice quality bit of kit. Now, the next thing, they did all different types of grades of tyres, supposedly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these are just so much grip on them. I think this is half the problem with this car, is you've got a lot of weight at the back and not a lot at the front, and these front tyres are grippy. So in the day you'd run on, like, I think it was a 27 meg radio, it might have been 2.4, I don't know what it was, but it doesn't look like you could get any exponential on it or any change in the settings, because I think you'd have to have very little steering on this car to stop it, spinning around like it does, and to actually get it like, well, I don't know if you'd ever get it flat out, but it's probably, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the back and all that kind of, they're putting more and more weight on the front, and I think that's wrong, because it's going to give you like more steering. These tyres are, really like cricket bat handle rubber, that stuff that's really, it's so sticky. I mean, look, you can hardly pull that across my table, and I believe there's too much. It's not the back that's the problem, I believe it's the front. Now, I've just generated even more grip with the softer shocks. The body's kind of like 5mm higher, or the chassis to what it was. It shouldn't bottom out. You can press in the middle of the car and all 4 shocks work. It doesn't like bend like it did before. So that's going to generate more grip, hopefully more grip for the back, but also it's going to probably give him more grip for the front. So, you know, that could be another can of worms. But I won't know until I try it. I need to find like the proper tarmac. Where I've been going lately is kind of like concrete and it's dusty and, you know, whatever. But just needs a big space because I don't want to break it. I'll probably take all the bumpers off it, the wing and everything, and just have it as a, you know, like a blob, and run it around the car park without all this on, because I don't think this aero is going to make much difference to it, do you? I mean, it's kind of like, where are we? Let's put this camera down. You know, that, you know, you can pull that down. Is that going to affect the car at high speed? It'd probably be even more steering. You know, I don't know, that's the last thing we want. But with that gyro in there, and I believe with a fast servo, it might be able to catch it quicker than you can, you know, because it's like being in the car, you can catch it with a gyro. So anyway, guys, sorry that's a bit long. I've got a few more projects which I'm working on, but that's why I've not been on there for a while, because I'm doing so many things. I'm trying to, waiting for parts, I'll start on another one. The Giga Crusher is finished. I've got a remote glow on there. I haven't got starters on it. I've got a remote glow, so I can click the glows on the transmitter and pull start them and it'll go. But I've not put any fuel in the engine because I don't want to do that yet. It's looking pretty. The body's repaired. I'm going to do a little video on it, to how I've done 2 remote glows, and I'm looking forward to giving that a run. But the thing is, you know, you dread putting fuel in the engines because it's so awkward. Once you run it, it's so awkward to stop the engines going rusty. You know, I'm in 2 minds whether to sell it, you know, as like, it's because it's, the engines have kind of like, they're like new, you know, inside. Everything's been changed. And you put fuel in them again, no matter, you keep running it out, and you put like WD-40 or you put after run oil, and then if you leave it, they go rusty, you know. I've got 2 engines there, so I'm not sure whether I will run it. One side of me says, no, don't run it, you know, save the engines and sell it. Another side of me says, yeah, go and give it a blast, 3-speed, monster thing, you know. So I'm torn between the 2 on that. I don't know. But this one, I'll definitely run it because it's a challenge. I've never seen one run properly. I've seen a couple of the Ferraris go, not bad. The 8th one seems okay because it's got a little 15 engine in it, so it's not as bad. But anyway, I'll stop waffling on, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.